What's Up YouTube? Talk about I want my KTV. Here we are already early September looking back at who was who on the property during August. We've got koalas, we've got other wildlife, and don't forget that the I Want My KTV competition is running right now. Links in the description below. Get involved. Or maybe you would also like to get involved in the Koala Awareness September Challenge for Save the Koala Month. Really fun, art, craft, whatever you want to do, cooking. Links in the description below once again. Please have a great time with me this September. Smash that like button, subscribe, and always leave a comment below. If you like what you see here already, you're going to be knocked out by my new Patreon membership perks. Come on, help me help koalas even more. We've got a jam-packed video coming up. Make sure you're watching for the bonus at the end. You won't believe the diversity I've managed to capture for you this month, as well as all of our favourites. There were 7 different koalas on the property. As usual, we're going to go through everything in alphabetical order, which is going to start from the smallest insects right up to the most amazing things I found. Koala Gardens is a wildlife sanctuary on private land. Subscribing helps me bring koalas to you, and liking this video helps me bring them to the whole world. I'm lucky enough to live in the koala's backyard with a wild and free colony on the far north coast of New South Wales in Australia. Check out my Patreon options and come over and chat on my public Discord server. You'll find links for these and lots more in the description below. I'm Katrina and I'm passionate about saving koalas. August in Australia is the last month of winter and starts very foggy most days. The ants are out and about, and if you think that looks like one big jumbo ant, you are not wrong, it truly is. We managed to have Ash back just for one day. You can see he's leaning back thinking, nah, she can't see me. But yeah, I found you, mate. Look forward to seeing you again next month. Ash is actually in a tree on the edge of the entrance into the rainforest pocket on the property. You can tell things are changing a little bit because we also had a visit from this gorgeous young girl who is moving through the area at the moment as we're in the time of dispersion, when young koalas who are becoming sub-adults start to move about looking for their forever home. This absolutely stunning young girl was voted quite competitively on Facebook and ended up with the name BELA. I reckon it totally suits her. Just look at that nose pattern. She is a dream. Might notice that her name BELA only has one L, and that's because from me, that's just a little shout out to my absolute favourite book series, which is being made into a TV series coming out in November, The Wheel of Time. I wonder if anybody knows who the character BELA in that series actually is. I've grouped all the birds together. We can hear kookaburras in the background. This one is the black-faced cuckoo shrike, and I had a bit of a nesting situation in my greenhouse during August. Let's have a look and see what's going on in here. It's a white-headed dove, and she's using one of my orchid pots as a nest. I came along a couple of days later and she was gone for a minute, so I carefully took a quick little video. There's one egg in there and I got out the way again. I've just taken little snippets during the month and you can see that gorgeous little chick that's hatched and is growing. Mum's not real happy with me, but I just peek at the door and already that baby is out of the nest and is an immature out in the wild. I always marvel at how quickly birds grow. Here's Mum in the next tree, just keeping a protective eye on her young. These little grey fantails, they just never stop. They're up, down, in, out, and they fan their tail out really quick and then fly. Quite hard to catch, but you can see how much it moves, and it's chirping a warning at me the whole time. A beautiful little grey shrike thrush. We have quite a variety of birds here. Look at how lovely that is. Now this time I'm just catching the sound of this bird. And that's another grey shrike thrush singing its heart out in the tree right outside my front door. And let's enjoy some honey eaters. We've got a variety of them here. I love this bird, the scarlet honey eater. They are about 3 inches long, tiny little birds. This is the brown honey eater, singing its little heart out and moving among the grevilleas in one of the many sections of mostly native garden that I've got around the place that encourages the birds and all of the insect pollinators to the area. This particular garden runs completely along the western length of the Kindy. You can see the fence there. This is another garden section which is in the backyard, what I call the backyard, which is the garden that is directly outside the back door of my house. I see these all over the property, but now I'm down at the eastern border to the rainforest pocket, and I've managed to come across a pair of king parrots that are feeding. Absolutely glorious colours. You can see red and then a band of blue before it turns into all of that beautiful green. They're actually quite shy birds, and I was amazed that this one allowed me to just sit quietly and get this footage, because usually I found the moment I look at them they just screech and take off. So I was really thrilled with this. I don't know how many families of kookaburras I have living on the properties. Kookaburras actually mate for life, and their young stay with mum and dad for 2 to 3 years, helping raise the next generations. So they live in family groups, and I've got them all over the property. Now just listen to this currawong as it flies off. The Lewin's honeyeater is quite a prolific bird in Australia, but there's just always something about them that catches my attention. I think it's that little splash of yellow at the end of the eye that just makes them just gorgeous to look at. All of our honeyeaters have quite gorgeous calls or songs that they will use as a kind of warning system to each other while they're out feeding. And who could go past the gorgeous colours of the rainbow lorikeet? But you know, these are not just pretty fellas. This bird is pollinating the koala food trees. This is one of the forest red gums that I can see outside my kitchen window, and by moving through these trees, the birds are doing such an important job for our koalas. Here's a close-up of one of those beautiful scarlet honey eaters. Oh, and what have we here? We have a koala in Bloodwood Gully. Oh yes, look at that shape. Oh no, it's a bird's nest. That's a magpie nest. I couldn't resist throwing this one in because that nest has been there for a couple of years and I know it's there, and yet it gets me very often. Here's a willy wagtail who's taking advantage of a tripod that I was not using at the moment as a launching pad to hunt from. You can see there's the same behaviour on a tree branch. And now we can see a butcherbird and a willy wagtail sharing the branches of a tree. The butcherbirds are one of the most amazing hunters, and they will hang extra kills they've made in the trees like butchers putting meat on a hook. The willy wagtails are really efficient hunters. You can see that this one has caught and is eating a dragonfly. Now let me tell you, you have to be pretty fast to catch a dragonfly on the wing, but this wagtail made it. You've got to be fast to catch a superb fairy wren. That's a female there. There she goes. And a beautiful yellow-breasted Australian robin. Very pretty birds with a lovely song. Now, let's move on into the koalas that we saw, and we're still in alphabetical order, so we're going from birds to, you guessed it, our bullet. There he is, fitted so beautifully into the V shape of that tree, having a good koala sleep. Seems like there's pretty much no end to the comfy positions Bullet can roll himself up into in a tree. It's the koala way after all. It's not always easy to get the photos you see me take of koalas. I mean, there is just no chance of a decent face shot when you are dealing by looking through leaves and twigs such as this. Still, the first thing you do is you find that basic round koala shape, and then you just hone on in and work out who it is. That tree on the corner there is the one that I released Phoenix and Luna into during July. That's better. We've got a bit better view at Bullet this time without all of those twigs right in front of his face. Instead, he's just hiding behind the main branch. Bullet is such an inspiration with his Koalates moves that he makes. In fact, you might like to join us for Koalates lessons. Do you want to get fit with other people who love koalas? Check the links below and you can join in. Usually it's each Monday. And the beautiful little Miss Ellie. I say little because she's the littlest of the adults at the moment, but she's not really all that little anymore. And she loves the heights of the treetops most of the time. She has this really typical way of sprawling herself in the branches too, that quite often when I come along, I will just see the position, and at this point, I'll just be like, yeah, that's Ellie. Those gorgeous ears of hers, of course, are often quite a big giveaway as well. Don't you love how the koala trees mimic the colours of the koalas? This is a pink bloodwood and is such a different bark to the red gum that we just saw Ellie in, and yet there still is this certain amount of mimicking of the colours and patterns of a koala. Always amazes me. Identifying who's who can be pretty difficult, you know, because you've got to consider just how far away from me they are and how much canopy I've got to get that camera through. Now we'll look at some of the flora on the property. This is a hard quandong that is just coming into bud. Looks lovely with those pale coloured buds and the green shiny leaf. And mingled in with it is some Australian native mistletoe. It's bursting forward in the most beautiful vibrant colours. I didn't find a mistletoe bird this month, but I'm determined that during September I will find a mistletoe bird to show you. And these are a few old hard nuts left over from last season with the new fruit coming through. And one of the new little natives that's on the boundary is flowering. How gorgeous. This is not a native, it's an African daisy, but I do find them so pretty. A few more non-natives. We have a Strelitzia, the bird of paradise, a gerbera, quite delightful. Some more daisies of different kinds, colours and petal patterns. The gum nuts on a non-koala West Australian gum tree. A few different grevillea flower types. I've got quite a variety of grevillea flower shapes here in the different gardens. Another native shrub that's coming into flower, and it is so sweet. It smells almost like jasmine. All the flowers are great attractors, not just for birds, but for many insects. You can see, even though these are European honeybees here, they actually attract lots and lots of the different native Australian bees. Most of them are so small, it's really hard to capture them on film. I love nasturtiums. You can eat the flowers and the leaves. The leaves have a peppery taste, so they're great in winter cooking. And the flowers, well, they've kind of got a little bit of a sweet taste, but they just look great on any dish. And this I consider my front yard. So you can see I've got the house and some garden and then a gazebo. And then I've got kind of the front yard in front of the gazebo. And I walk through that front yard to get through to the kindy. This is that West Australian flowering gum. It's a dwarf gum tree, but the flowers are huge and therefore the gum nuts it produces are huge. They would be 50 times the size of a forest red gum nut. And we're all just rejoicing in the fact that we get to see so much of the lovely Luna. So Luna has spent quite a bit of time on the property. She has separated now from Phoenix, and she's spending quite a lot of her time in Bloodwood Gully, and I often find her in the late afternoon feeding in the plantation area. So I think Phoenix has said to her, look lovey, this is a really good spot to be. See ya. And the divine Miss M, Matilda. She never fails to please. She spent nearly half the month here and she's always pretty much within zone 11. It's definitely the area that she's making her territory. Interestingly, when Matilda and Ellie first arrived, Ellie spent most of her time in area 11 and Matilda would move between 9, 10 and 11. Now, Matilda spends most of her time in area 11 and Ellie moves between 9, 10 and 15. Matilda is definitely the queen of the weirdest girl positions that I've seen for years on the property. She just cracks me up. And it's always important to remember that I am never as close to the koalas as the fantastic zoom on my camera may make it seem. I could pretty much literally sit and watch Matilda all day long. Well, unless I was watching Bullet, of course. It's been absolutely brilliant. Also, having quite a few days of Phoenix being here. It's so great to see her. She's such a big girl, and already I'm getting excited about watching the next Joey bump develop in that pouch of hers. She's certainly been moving about all over the property, and that might mean that she's been travelling a bit trying to avoid males, or she's been travelling a bit looking at her choices for a male this year. I do know that Bullet is definitely putting his hand up and making the offer. The last wildlife to see are the wallabies. These are redneck wallabies, and they're very shy. As soon as they see me pick the camera up, they tend to just take off. I was very lucky to get these couple of sneak peeks, and then they saw me and were gone. We had a beautiful full moon during the month. Another thing I've done due to popular demand is I've put the previous bonus photos up on Redbubble, where you can purchase them as prints on various mediums. I've put the links in the description below, so go and have a look and see what you think. But for this month, I couldn't resist having a good old play about and colour treatment on Bella. Bella is beautiful, a la naturelle, but she's also fun like this. What do you think? Please do leave me a note in the comments below as to how you think she came out. Whoa, there we go. That was August. And guess what? You have made it through to the end of yet another video. I hope you enjoyed seeing the place where I am lucky enough to live with these amazing animals. Would you write into the comments below, August was awesome. Now, don't forget, there's heaps more great video coming up, so make sure that you've subscribed. Thanks for visiting Koala Gardens. Did you hit the like button? Now before you go, there's lots more great video to see, and make sure you've subscribed and hit that notification bell.